Now I can't get in my computer. Oh, we're in.
We're in. Seal.
It's
See.
not even loud enough. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Like, I don't want to hear myself.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready? Are you ready for this?
I think so.
Are you? She's still logging in.
Go up. I'm ready.
I actually heard it, and I think it does say go up.
Oh, you see?
Yeah, it does. I'll admit it. I was
Okay.
wrong.
Okay, good. Oh, so you have to look at it? Okay, very good. Okay.
All right. Should we say welcome, or should we do something different?
I don't know. How are you? How was your day today?
It was good. It was crazy. It's been busy at work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very busy.
Okay.
Very busy. How's you? How's your heart?
You hear them?
But no.
Welcome to the month of March.
The month. Oh, right.
That's a good intro. That's right.
That is happy
March
month.
Happy March.
Happy March. Happy March.
March is my month, so I love it.
True.
Welcome to March.
It's what else do we have in March? It's women's right? It's the, what is it, Jazz? National Women Month, right?
Oh, I don't even know.
It is.
Oh.
We actually got an email from the president of where I work today.
Oh.
Saying that he confirmed.
So what did they give you?
Nothing. Just letting us know.
So what?
Yeah, good to know.
Wait, but what exactly is Women's Month? Like, why? Are we getting something from somebody?
I don't think so.
Oh, do we have a parade?
Like, I don't think so.
When?
But when's the day? No, I thought it was the whole month.
I think that we need a parade.
I mean,
St. Patrick.
No. We need our own. We should have the day off, and somebody sends us to whatever you women like. If it's a massage, go get it. If it's a pedicure and manicure, go get it. If it's your hair, go get it. If you want to start a new class, let somebody pay for it, go get it.
You know what? Votes your matter for
Why
president.
not? If it's Women's Day, right? Not Women Month? Women Day? Okay.
Well, a date is better than nothing.
Give me something then.
Yeah. Let us take the day off. Go get something.
Wait, do men have?
No.
No, they are. They are. I am a advocator for men. I really am.
Good.
I would defend them.
You should.
Yeah.
I mean, we should defend both.
Yeah.
Women.
I'm not a man hater. I love them dearly.
No. We shouldn't be.
I'm sorry you don't have a day. Make one up. Pick a day. Pick a month.
I'm sure they do. I didn't know about this whole woman
I didn't either.
So I'm sure they do. We just don't know.
Jasmine was the one who told us about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have a month? But now it's just a day.
A day. It went from a month to a day and then to nothing. Because we don't get anything.
I'm sorry? When is that?
That's this Saturday coming up.
When?
This Saturday coming up.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well. Yeah. You see?
When is it?
There you go.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't have just women. Like, it has to be men.
Yeah, they have that beard thing in November also. No, I don't know if it's that they don't cut their beard. I don't know. I know someone who used to do that. It's called something, but I can't remember it right now. Something about the beard.
Don't cut your beard.
November. I don't know. When we figure it out, I'll tell you.
Okay. But happy March.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Oh my goodness. Um, so we're at
Sorry. Now I can't. I can't. Yeah, it's called Movember.
Movember.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says what do guys do in Movember? It's a 30-day event where the men grow mustache in order to raise awareness of and money for men's health issue. You see?
Mm.
Mauve. Look.
Movember.
Yeah. I got you, boys.
Movember. Mm.
Mm.
Interesting. Never heard of
Okay.
that.
They have a whole month. We have a day. I just need to point that out.
No, I think I think we have the month. What?
I don't need
Searching
it. I
up.
just need you to celebrate me every single day. That's it.
So literally. We
I don't
all
ask for a lot. Just acknowledge me every single day.
right?
That's not a lot to ask.
It's not.
No.
We should all be acknowledged every single day.
Acknowledgement is what we need.
Yes.
Out of a room full of 100 people, I want you to look at me in a way that I'm the only person there.
Yes.
Yeah. And boy or girl, if we're having a conversation, you better make me feel like we're the only people in that room. I have had those moments.
Oh.
Yeah. That everything else just blacks out around me and it's just me and
Yeah.
that person talking. And then somebody all of a sudden interrupts and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
those moments.
Oh. We have a very big topic today, guys. We are going to get into details about it, but the reason that I brought this before I mentioned the topic, today's a very special and emotional day for me. And when I was choosing the topics for this month, like this, I knew that this was gonna be it. Like I knew what it was. But then what I was telling you guys earlier was that I didn't know what to write. Like I was just like out of it. Like I really didn't know. And then it wasn't, few moments, different moments where God was confirming with me that he didn't want me to write anything. He just really wanted the conversation to come from heart. And it was because this day for many years was a very like just what you would call depressive, filled with sadness, filled with a lot of like mixed emotions, but not very good ones. Like just, I felt lost. I didn't know what to feel. And so what he was reminding me was that on this day, at least today, this year, I felt and I know that I have been restored from the grief that I felt for so many years. And that is why I named it Restoration from Grief, because that's what he did for me. And I wanted to bring this topic up because I know that, at least for me personally, it took a lot of years. For other people, it can take a shorter amount of time. For many other people, it can take a longer amount of time. But I want to talk about what it's like to be able to be on this side, the good side, the side where you finally have moved on, right? And when I searched up, when I did my research, right, on what we can define restoration is, right, and it's to be able to care and to take care really of what it is that you lost. And it doesn't really mean that you completely forget about it. I mean, you never truly do. But it's just being able to kind of fill it in with the life that you're living in, and it's no longer filled with all the negativity, but instead it becomes into this positive emotion, this positive feeling, and just being able to be healed from it completely. It's a good feeling, and it's what I felt today. And
can you tell everybody why Because
Um,
you didn't say
right,
why.
yes. So today, March 3rd, but it back in 2016 was the day that my sister passed away. And like I said, for many years,
How many years ago was that?
that was 2016. So that was what, 8 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So took that long. But again, it's not really about God allows it to happen the way that it happens for a reason. Um, but just being able to be on this side, it feels good. It it does. Because for many years I didn't know what I was feeling. I felt lost. I knew that I lost someone. I knew that that person for a long time I was in denial. Then came a point where I was angry. There came a point where I was using the grief as an excuse. Then came a point where um I just I didn't feel it. So there was just different
Mm-hmm.
stages
Yeah. Yeah.
that I went through, but it was because I allowed it to,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And God was trying to reach me throughout the whole time, and I wouldn't allow it because, like I said, there came a time where I was using it as an excuse
Mm-hmm.
not to move on, to just continue being where I was, and that wasn't okay. Um, so
But wasn't it like you were comfortable in that space
I was
because it made you feel close to her anyways?
right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For it's crazy because the first year that it happened, I was in complete denial. So what had I think, and today when I visited her, and I'm gonna be completely vulnerable and honest about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I went to visit her today, I was able to be honest as to what I felt with her when it happened. I was angry.
Good.
I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she had left our family because she wanted to have her own life. She was very like she wanted to be independent. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
she wanted. So even before she passed away, a couple months before, she had made that decision. Like as soon as she turned 18, she passed away when she was 18. But when she first turned 18, those first couple of months, that's it. Like she left. She didn't say anything to me when she left. She just sent me a text. Hey, she used to call me Cece. Hey Cece, I I left. I couldn't bear telling you in person. I knew that it wasn't gonna be I knew it was gonna be filled with sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got, a text, and she left. So from those couple months until the moment that she passed away, um, I was hurt. I was hurt. I still loved her. I mean, there was still love. I still needed her in some moments. She was still my best friend, but I still felt hurt. There was
Mm-hmm.
still hurt inside of me. And then she passed away. So I don't think that I was ever able to express that hurt that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, after her passing away, then I felt anger. And I didn't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, and I never was able to express to her what I felt. She decided to leave without even telling her best friend that she was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a moment of different emotions. I was hurt, I was angry, um, then sadness, then denial. It was a lot. It was a lot of mixed emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that I wasn't able to completely heal was because I wasn't being honest with what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to kind of, like you said, I wanted to continue. And it wasn't until or actually her first year death anniversary, which is, what you call it, that's I went to the cemetery that day, and I just started breaking. I remember I was in the car and I just started breaking, crying, 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 and I didn't understand why. And I know now that in that moment, that's where I actually felt, oh, she's like really gone. Cause for a year I felt like she was gone, but I felt like it was because she left the house. It was like, okay, like, but I can still like contact her, like that
Yeah.
was just the mentality that I was in. But then when the year passed by, I was like, oh, like she's gone. Like that's it. There's just nothing that I can do. That's it. And then that's when the sadness came in, and
There's just stages
there's different
to this.
stages. Yeah.
Like like I can't say like I haven't lost any blood, like anybody blood.
Yeah.
Like I have grieved people that are alive in my life, but to grieve someone who has passed away like that was blood to you, and that they was there every single day of your life, and all of a sudden they're not there anymore. I like the part that you said, the first year she just left. Like in my mind, she just left.
Yeah.
Like she didn't pass away, she just left the house. And then comes the second year, and I feel like you never get over this.
Yeah.
I don't think you will ever get over somebody leaving your life in that way. It it becomes a whisper to other people around you, but it's very loud to you who have gone through it.
Yeah.
Life moves on for everybody else, but you are still in that place. Not saying you technically.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you. You're just there in that place still. And there's a verse that I was gonna interrupt you while you were talking, but I'll just let her finish. There's a verse that I came upon when I was doing my research on grieving, because I have somebody that I love dearly next to me that passed away, but the people who are still alive, like how can I be of help to them, and then this verse came, and it was Matthew 5:4. This verse right here, there's one thing about Christian people that when you ask them, how are you handling this? Oh, I'm okay. Everything's all right. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the raw. What is it exactly that's going through your thought when you're sitting on your bed? And I remember I was listening to the Evans family when their mom passed away, and Tony Evans, Priscilla Shire,
Oh,
their
yes.
family. When their mom passed away, you know what the family did? They went to the church and they did a panel in front of the whole church. The family was okay. The only one who wasn't okay with doing it was the son. They asked him, they asked everybody, how's everybody doing? Oh, we got to take him on there. God knows everything that he's doing. The answers, those superficial answers, just so everybody leaves us alone. And he said, I'm not okay. I am not okay. I'm angry. That set the most raw conversation in that place about death and how you're supposed to handle it, or a Christian is supposed to handle it. And this verse right here, Matthew 5:4 says, God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. So, God blesses those who mourn. What do you mean by that? I'll tell you exactly what it means. Be raw with God. I don't see the goodness in this, God. I do not see how this can be okay with you. How did you take away the person that I love the most? You just yanked them away from my life. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm angry. Why did this happen? Be raw with God. Ask him those questions. That is the most truest way that you can get your answer and be comforted. That's why it says there at the end, they will be comforted. Why? I have to display to God exactly what I feel, because he knows everything that's inside of you.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to his presence and just like, yeah, God, I kind of understand why you did this. You know how we get. But to be that raw and say, no, I don't get it. I don't understand this. For instance, what you don't know, that we have something mutual, right? Wednesday is going to be 16 years that I lost my first baby in the worst miscarriage I have ever had. I had two of them, but the first one was the worst that I've ever had. Mind you, the beginning, I felt like my miscarriage was a punishment. And I lived with that for a while. I didn't do nothing wrong, but I felt like my miscarriage was a punishment. Did I dare to say that to God? I didn't dare say that. I just say, God, you know everything that happens. You know best. So I'm not even going to like question it. Did I question it afterwards? Of course I did. That's when I became raw. When the second one happened, that's when I became raw. I don't understand, God. I have grief inside of me that no one will ever understand unless I talk about it. I am not going to ever have mom friends that I can sit down and talk to them about, the children's stuff that you guys talk about when you're all together. I'm never going to go out on play dates. I'm going to live me telling God, I'm going to live like that without ever experiencing that. That's the grief. It's different than yours, right?
Yeah.
But it's still the same emotion.
Right.
But in order for me to get comforted, I need to be honest with
Right.
God. I don't understand why if you didn't want me to have babies, then why let me get pregnant in the first place? Why did you open my womb in the first place? Do I have answers to that? I don't have answers to that. But you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with not having those answers because you know what? I trust that He knows my life. Look at me where I'm at now. Can you imagine me being a single mom now?
Yeah.
So I have to trust that God has the best intentions in everything that He does for
Right.
my life.
He has a plan.
Yes, He
Even
does.
when it comes to those things.
Yeah, Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans I have for you. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you future and a hope." But with that verse, you have to be honest with what you feel when you're grieving.
You do. And it's crazy because I was watching, like I said, throughout the past. When did I send this? This was like 2 weeks ago that I said
Yeah.
that we were going to talk about this. So since then, I was trying to I knew this was going to be a very like this in general, this day, this topic was going to be a very big one. So I was trying to prepare. I was like, God, I want to make sure that the message that I portray is, you know, it's good enough for you because of what you've done in me right through this process. And I watched, then this video came up of Sarah Jakes Roberts, and it's called Increase.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, she was talking about the story of Lazarus, right, where obviously we know how that story ends, right, that God brought him back to life. But in that message, what she was trying to portray was that the grief that Martha and Mary felt, and even Jesus himself.
Yeah.
Right. And how she's talking about how basically during that moment, it was not knowing what was going to happen, but coming to Jesus, coming to him, coming to his presence, and being vulnerable, being able to express to him how you felt. And in that moment they do, right?
Yeah, both of them.
They come like, hey, why didn't you come sooner? Like, why did you allow this to happen? Which is very similar. And like, I appreciate I didn't know that, right, and this is something that I just found out, but that and we mentioned this topic before, but how your grief, you have your form of grief and I have mine, but it's still grief.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, and you sometimes you lose people that they're still alive, but you lose them, right? You lose friendships, you lose people that you love in your life, that's still grief, right? There's different forms of grief.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when I'm talking about my form of grief, obviously it's someone that you're not getting back. It's someone that you know that in that moment I was angry, I was confused. And when she brought this story up, and it was something like the message that she was giving, and it's funny because today in the prayer, um Pastor Jose mentioned that same story
Mm.
of Lazarus. So it was like, confirmation. And what she says is that grief is an increase in disguise. And I, throughout the whole video, throughout the whole preaching that she was mentioning, it just caught to me, because it's true. Without me even knowing, during that whole process, he was working in me. He
Mhm.
was doing something in me. I was going to get to the point that I am today, even though I might have not believed it, even though I might have not known it, even though I probably was confused, I was hurt, I was angry. It was a mix of emotions that I didn't know. I did a bunch of stuff, you know, during that process, but that it has led me to where I am today. And where I am today is having such an intimate relationship with God.
Mhm.
So all of this process, it has been increasing, getting closer to him.
Mhm.
So it's exactly how you mentioned it. Even though we might not understand it, even though we might not know why he allows it, but if he allowed it, it has a reason. If he allowed it, it's because he knows what's going to come out of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And during the process that I lost my sister, one of my biggest worries, one of my biggest confusion was, I don't know what happened to her, God. I don't know if she, and as silly as this sounds, to certain people, it was a serious question to me. I was young. I didn't know too much about this. I was like, is she with you? Like,
Mm.
like, did she?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of, during that process, a lot of people were coming to tell me different things, that I was confused. I was only 16.
Mm.
So I didn't know. I was like, what is happening? It's, I and be that was one of the reasons that I was also so upset, because I didn't know. And it wasn't until recently that, from a conversation with my mom, and what someone had told her, was that the reason that it took so long for someone to come to her, because that was another reason why I was angry. It was so much, that, she was able, and this is why this story of Lazarus, it took them 3 hours to get to her. She
Mm.
was alive, and
Mm.
it's a car accident in a highway. Like, didn't, like, no one called, no one
Yeah.
it took them in total, whatever the reason was, 3 hours. And then somebody recently, I heard it from my mom, but somebody had told her, well, those 3 hours, those were the 3 hours that she was having an encounter with God, because the other two that were with her, complete, like, in the moment.
Mm.
And when they saw her, it was like she should have.
Mm.
That's it. Like,
Mhm.
she was basically physically dead. It was just her brain that was still.
Mm.
And as soon as they took her to the hospital, that's it. So 3 hours. And in the same way that it happened with Lazarus, it took, right, I think it was 3-4 days
Mhm.
for
Mm.
Jesus to get to him. But there was a reason behind all of that. And so that confirmation to me, along with many other things, has brought a sense of peace, a sense of restoration, a sense of like, hey, even that was your biggest heartbreak when you were 16, when you were so young, when you had so many other things happening, when you didn't know how to acknowledge like what was going on. It was just, but that it had a purpose, and that I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't because of that process.
Mm.
And so I know that there's people that are still in that process, that are still in the in between, that are still having those mixed emotions. I know there is.
Mhm.
I was there for a very long time. For some people, it takes a year. For some people, it takes 20 years. For some people, it might take a month. There's no timeline.
No, no.
Only God decides that timeline. But wherever you are in that stage, there's gonna be a light at the end of it.
Well, like from my experience watching other people, I feel like you have to not only understand what grief is, you have to give people time to come back to themselves. Like I always say, that person didn't just lose someone. I feel like that person also fell in the casket as well.
Right.
The person who's alive,
They lose themselves.
they lose themselves as well.
Mhm.
And if you have never experienced that before, and you don't know how to handle this person, I think it's rightfully so that you educate yourself. Because me, as a person trying to help my lovely friend go through this, and I think it's been a year, and tomorrow is gonna be three months, is it? Something like a year and 2 months. This is hard as an outsider, because like I don't want to like talk for her, because this is something that she should be able to share and speak about, because that helps in healing too, but I give her space, but I also know that she doesn't show that side to anybody, so everyone sees her laughing and joking and playing around, but I see the other side, the one who's still grieving, the one who because grief hits her at different times. She could be fine, and then I can sense when I'm losing her. And I love it. I love it that she can be so honest. I created a safe space for her so she can be that way with me. And when she does feel that, I stay quiet. I ask her, "Are you okay?" And she says, So I know she doesn't have to say anything. If she wants to talk about it, she will. If she doesn't want to talk about it. But we cannot expect a person who has gone through this to be okay a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, 5. You can't expect them to be okay. You got to give them a grace. And sometimes they are going to mess up more than others. But I understand that it's because they're going through something. And as much as I want to take that away from her, or that pain that she feels away, I can't.
Yeah.
She has to go through that. But this is why I say that being honest is the best way. In Psalms 34:18, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted." He's telling you, I am close to you when you're going through this. And he rescued those whose spirits are crushed. And he's going to rescue you. You just need to be honest with what you're feeling. Above all things, have those moments. If you're angry, be angry.
Yeah.
Be angry, man. And I'm saying it that way because I have had my moments when I do get angry. Like, God, I'm not going to have a child. I'm not going to be able to feel being pregnant and having nothing's impossible for him. Like, I could be a 60-year-old woman pregnant.
Yeah.
But can we visually see that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, I don't even know, 46. For me, time is ticking,
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And then I start thinking, I'm not gonna have something that's mine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have that. I know people tell me, well, adopt. Okay, that's so easy for you to say, you know?
Yeah.
But you want your blood.
Yeah. Something that's
You
yours.
want something that's yours. And I try I try not to think about that too much. But I am grieving a life that I probably won't have. A life that when I was a little girl, married with kids that I used to think about. I don't know if that could happen for me. Again, nothing's impossible for God, and I'm not stopping that. But I'm
Mhm.
speaking to you in present, how I feel right now. It's like, would it? Don't know. But what I feel right now, I grieve that. When could it happen? Why didn't it happen? So, grieving comes in all different ways. And this is what I say, you don't know what somebody's going through.
Right. Yeah. It's true.
Be attentive.
Just be able to know the process that they're going
Yeah.
through and take it into consideration, because what and that is why this is such a big topic for me. And one of the questions that's there, how has grief transformed you as a person? How has it changed the way that you are with people? And it's because of that. Because personally, not going through grief, I would not be able to talk about this or give advice or be able to help people in this process. Um,
But when it transformed you as a person, did you go from being jolly to someone who was just going with the flow of life? How did that change you?
the like while
I
I
know
was
you were
grieving,
16,
yeah,
so at 16 you're still trying to discover who you are as a person.
yeah,
But I still think the shock of losing someone changes you.
yeah. I think I was just after, aside from becoming a mom, like that moment was kind of like I was literally like lost. I didn't know. Like I guess you can say I didn't know like who I was. Like I felt like it was, and that's why I wanted to do this video today, because I will always remember the day that they gave me the news. Like today. Like it was just, you know, having that shock in my system of like, okay, and then from there being this person that was, I guess, just learning how to be during that time. I learned how to acknowledge that I was pregnant. I learned how to acknowledge that that was the point in my life that I was in, and I was happy. I was embracing it. I was actually happy about it. Like at 16 when I got pregnant at the beginning, I was not.
Mm,
Julie was the person that was able to bring that happiness to me.
mm,
It crazy story. Um I was, and this is very personal, but I was going to get an abortion.
mm,
Like that's what I was going to do.
mm,
And she was the one that stopped me.
mm,
She was the one that stopped me
mm,
from committing, from doing it.
mm.
Like literally. And I know that God touched her heart in so many ways. I know it. I know it now. And because of her, she brought something in me that was like, hey, even if the person that you are having this baby with doesn't, he just leaves you, he just doesn't Like he just wants out. Like basically he just wants out. Then I'm here. I'm in. I am going to support you all the way. And I felt happy. I was calling her every day.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out it was a boy, she was the first person I called, even though she wasn't there, right? Because, like I said, during that time, she decided to leave. But I was calling her. I was like, hey, like, it's a boy. She was the happiest aunt in the world in the moment. Um, she was already like starting to go, like, I'm gonna go buy clothes.
Mm.
So I was happy. I was happy, CEO.
Mm.
And then it happened. And then that's when the anger came in again.
Yeah.
For a short amount of time, I was starting to be happy with what I had. And then it was kind of like someone did this.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
felt like. It's literally what it felt like. And I'm being completely honest. I haven't opened up to too many people about this.
Mm.
But I can't share how I'm restored from this if I'm not honest with how it was
Yeah.
when it happened.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt. Like someone snatched something from me. A happiness. Someone snatched that happiness from me, not only from having that person, but then also the person that was basically making a way for me to be happy during my pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah. The one person you can share it with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So now you wanted to do this episode because you want to talk about the part that you are restored. So did this restoration started now because you are having a relationship with God?
Yes. I would say it was where I am now obviously is closer to God than I was. But a year ago, I was seeing a counselor. I was seeing someone, and she was actually the first person that I expressed to what I was feeling. I like every single little detail about her loss. Like I was finally able to open up. But she was also a pastor, so
you do advise for people who are grieving to go see someone.
yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
During the time that it happened,
Mm-mm.
like the first, I remember I saw a therapist, but mind you, she was just not a Christian, just a regular therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just, during the time, I did a lot of stuff that they told me you need to see someone, where I say stuff, me trying to hurt myself in ways where they were like, or you either go to this place or you start seeing a therapist. So I started seeing someone, and I was still not even a year had passed by, because I was still pregnant actually. So it was only a couple months later, and she was telling me like, hey, what do you feel? How do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Never. I went to see her like 3 times, 4 times. Not once did I speak to her. This was like, you can like ask me right now, how do you feel? Like just ask me.
How do you feel? Oh no.
An hour passed by. I did not say a word. I didn't even like look at her. I was just like, I'm not.
You weren't ready to talk
No.
and share.
It had like, no. No, I was not. I was not even there. Like I was lost. Like what do you mean, how do I feel? I just lost my sister.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what I felt. I felt
Yeah.
anger.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And you know how I feel.
Yeah.
Like I don't just like I was angry. Like, no, don't ask me how I feel. You know how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not even doing this right now. I'm just here out of obligation.
Why do you think it's hard for certain people to even go down that route? To speak to someone.
Because they haven't even they haven't even been honest with themselves about how they're feeling. During that time, I I can tell you now I was angry. But in that moment, I was just like my dad used to wait for me outside because of my age. He had to be there, but not inside, but waiting outside. And I would just go out and my dad would be like, oh, like, ¿cómo te fue? How was it?
Mhm.
It was good. So just completely ignoring my emotions. I was ignoring, not talking about anyone else in this matter, talking about myself. I was
Yeah.
ignoring what I was feeling.
Mm.
I can tell you now, Seal, that I was angry. I don't want you to ask how I was feeling. You have no right. You don't even know me. I can tell you now exactly how I felt. But in that moment, exactly what you were just saying a couple minutes ago, I was, oh yeah, I'm okay. Yep. It is what it is. Okay. So when you are not able to even express it with yourself or you're feeling, you're not going to be able to express it to others.
Mhm.
And it's a process that only God can work in you,
Mhm.
right? And so now moving forward to a year ago, or a year ago, I started, now seeing, and this pastor, she would always pray before her sessions, and it was a sense of like I wanted to open up. Like it just came out and I started sharing things with her that no one knew. And she would always just be there listening. Like she would just listen. And then after that, she would give me her advice and she would tell me what to do. And then came a moment where during the first session, she actually stayed quiet about a lot of things. She was like, okay, like that's all. That's all. Like you needed to say that.
Mhm.
And that's all.
Mhm.
Then a few sessions later, she started now giving me advice. Until the last session came in, she was like, yeah, I think you're ready. And I was like, ready for what? Like, what do you, yeah, to like let go, to like, that's it, that grief. You need to let go of it. You've been holding onto it for too long.
But
Too long.
letting it go, or handling it.
No, yes.
Because I don't think grief can
no,
leave
you can't. No, you can't. You don't leave grief. But the way that I was holding onto it, I was too attached
Oh.
to the grief. I was too attached.
Yeah,
I didn't want to let go.
Yeah, I know.
Like now this, yes. Like
I get it.
I was way too
Yeah.
attached.
There's like I said before, it's a comfort that some
Right,
people want to
yes.
hold on to.
Some
it 'cause
people have that.
It makes you feel close to
Yes.
the person.
Right. And
It's
so,
the only emotion that you can express.
yes.
Because anything else, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So feeling that grief, you feel a sense of attachment.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's why during the first few sessions she would listen to me as to how I would act, what I would say, and then that's when on the last day she like fully, like it was like your mom like yelling at you but telling you things like that you don't want to hear. She was telling me as it was. She was like, yeah, you are going to visit her way too often, talking to her as if she was still here, and she is not. And you need to talk to the people that are present in your life right now.
I like that.
That's literally, and I took that. I took it and I accepted it. I was at a point in that time, I was like, that is true. I knew it was true. I just never wanted to admit it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let go. So she gave me advice on what to do. I did it. And since then, it brought a sense of peace. It brought a sense of peace. Like, yeah, that grief will never go. I will always miss her.
Yeah,
I
you
will
feel
always
homesick.
love her. That was my person. That was my best friend. That was the one person that I felt comfortable being myself. And to this day, and I know you can, you guys have seen it still takes me a while to be comfortable being who I am. I'm still in that stage. Like I'm still learning how to like, completely blossom into the person that was, hidden for so long. I was like in this little bubble of like, nope, only she saw who I am. I don't want to portray that to anybody else. So, being able to go through that it was heartbreaking. It was It was not easy.
Mhm.
It wasn't. But
Okay, so for you saw a counselor,
yes.
all right. Do you think that just can people heal by themselves?
Can people heal by
Can they heal by
themselves?
themselves?
I do not personally. I don't think you can heal by yourself.
Okay.
I don't think it has to be with a counselor
I
specifically.
know I was gonna get to the next
Oh yes.
question.
Okay, sorry, go.
No, no, I was gonna say that. Do you think that it's okay if they do it with their friends? The point of this
Yes.
is that they need to speak about it.
Yes.
Okay.
With whoever it is, right? It's different for everyone. For me, it had to be a counselor. I couldn't. I tried doing it with my family. It just never came out. I'm not blaming them in any way. It was me.
Yeah.
It just didn't come out. It
Yeah.
just that is why it got to the point where I was like, okay, I had to see someone. I saw a therapist at the beginning of it. I never wanted to do that ever again.
Yeah.
But God knew that that's who I needed to see.
Yeah.
So for everyone, it will be different. But I do think that you need to speak about it to someone. I don't think now.
Okay, so you're handling it way different now because as I'm discovering, grieving has is up and down. It's like a roller coaster.
Yes.
On how you handle it, how you view it, how you feel about it. And if you don't express none of that stuff, if you don't handle none of that stuff, you can have your moment where you're up there and you're like feeling happy and you're going on with life. You have like this high, and then all of a sudden it just comes at you out of nowhere, and you like sad and you feel depressed and you feel like you have this cloud over you. What do you do from there? Like, okay, I have my moment. So since I know that I'm gonna get out of it, I'm just gonna allow myself to feel it, which is great, blah blah. And then I'm just gonna continue on with life. And then you get another high and you're great again. And then you go back down again to that space that's so dark. But isn't there a time where it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse for you because you haven't gotten the help that you need?
Yeah.
I'm asking you now as as the doctor that you're going to be. Like let's start using that. Like the mental state of a person going up and down, up and down. It becomes unhealthy
Yep.
in every aspect of their life.
Yeah.
And there's no balance in anything.
Right.
So is it necessary? Is it necessary for them to discuss what they're feeling?
I do think it is.
Okay.
It's necessary because if you don't, now, again, right, the Christian side comes out of it, right? Because I during that time, if you have such a close and intimate relationship with God where you are speaking to him in your intimate moments with him,
Yeah.
then I do think that that's enough for you to, like you said at the beginning, where you were able after your second miscarriage, where you were able to express to him your anger.
Yeah.
You were able to do that.
Be honest.
Be
Yeah.
honest. So, but if you don't have that, and if you're not doing that, you have to be honest with yourself, because you can have a close and intimate relationship with God, but if that's the conversation that you're holding back during your prayers, during your intimate moment with him, you're talking about everything else, and he knows what you feel deep down inside, and he wants you to talk about that, but you're not even talking about that, or you might, but not in the way that he wants, like you're kind of like finding
Withholding.
loopholes around it. Like,
Mhm.
no, he wants you to be honest. And if you're not able to do it, before I did it with him, I had to do it with that counselor. I had to do it with that pastor. And she was the one interceding and praying for me to be able to go to him. I do believe that. I believe that. Right? So whoever it is that God brings into your life for you to open up, because you might not be comfortable doing it with him first, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. He understands that. He understands that it's just utterly hard for you to just say it. Like, It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to speak on what you're going through and what you're feeling. But the longer that you wait, the longer that it stays inside of you and the longer that you are basically like pushing it inside. You're not allowing it to come out. And the reason, and that's why I like to go talk about what I went through, because the reason that it took me this long was because that's exactly what I was doing. I was withholding what I was feeling. I did not want to speak to anyone. I did not. And if I did, it was very like, oh yeah, it does. It hurts, you know? But I wasn't being honest. Who was I angry at? Why was I angry? What was I feeling? Like you gotta be specific, because once you are specific, you're basically talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, that's how I felt. That's how I feel. Because at least for me, when I was going through that process, it was all in my mind. I wasn't even like, it just wasn't coming out. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
It was all in my mind and my heart.
What? How else can you talk about God restoring you if you don't allow Him in first? There has to be a platform, a Christian platform, where everyone who has gone through grief can be honest about it and speak. We want to talk about miracles, but we want these big, grandiose miracles out in front of our faces, like an arm stretching one after, like, oh, look at that arm is growing. We want something tangible, but a miracle itself can be someone getting restored after they lost the most important, most loved person in their lives. But since we don't talk about it, people that gone through it just want to stay quiet. They don't want to say nothing about it. So how else are you going to glorify God in that?
Right.
He allowed you to go through it. And it sounds so harsh, even when I say it, like
Yes.
He allowed you to go through it, but you're not even allowing the reason to be manifested to the whole world. There's a lot of people who are still grieving, who are still hurting, who are still in pain, and they're looking for that one person that said, "Hey, I'm right here. I went through it. Look at me now." But and I'm talking to the Christian community. Like, I'm so happy that you, like, this is what the end, what you're saying there, that's what I wanted to hear come out of you. Let's be raw with it, That's what we need to hear. I was angry, I was bitter, I didn't understand, but God is restoring me. How is He doing it? Little by little. I'm having a relationship with Him. I went through a filter first. Who was my filter? A person. And then I went to God, because now I was purged of certain things, and now I can go to God unfiltered. This is me right now. Like, take me as I am right now.
Yeah.
But yes, Melanie, like, I know that probably people are thinking, well, we've done this show before, kind of, like it's similar. But we're speaking about restoration from grief, and how God can take that, what you went through, and turn it into a testimony that you can speak from it with a place of joy.
Yes.
Like, I went through it, but here I am now. So I think you said how you were restored.
Yes.
How do you feel now?
I feel happy with the process. I do. Because for a very long time I didn't. I mean, a lot of people were telling me that's right. It happened for a reason. Like, it's okay. You had to go through that. But I was like, I don't know what you mean by that. I had to go through that. But I understand now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very grateful to God. And that's even hard to say. Because obviously I'm not saying I'm grateful that you took my sister away. No, it's the way that I'm saying is I'm grateful that you allowed me to go through that process, because where I am now is because of that.
Yeah.
And I do strongly believe that even though it took me that long, that even that had a purpose, because only then can I now come to you guys, come to this show, be vulnerable, be honest about every single I'm not every single little detail, because then we will be here talking for hours, but just being honest about the main way that He restored me, what I felt, how He restored me, and just the end result of it, of me being honest, me being open, me being joyful. And today, when I visited her, I just, I felt happy.
Mm,
I felt happy
mm,
because I know where she is. I am happy and feel at peace knowing where she is. I am at peace knowing that the grief process of it was not easy. And although I will always grieve her, this is
mhm.
why I continue visiting her. That I will never be like, okay, like
Yeah.
that's it. I'm restored. I'm no longer. That's it. That person is gone. I just no. Oh no, 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 no. That's not what I mean. But what I do know now is that that loss had a purpose, and that now I'm able to acknowledge it the way that God wants me to acknowledge it, not the way that I was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time to be honest
Yeah.
with what we feel when we have chaos and um in this case death,
Yeah.
that comes around. I don't want to hear, "Oh, Dios lo hizo, ¿qué voy a hacer?" Like, no, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I want to hear your heart. I want to hear what your heart feels, even if it's nasty. I want to hear it. I want to be able to be there to help you. It's the only way that we can help each other out. And I think it's time to
Yes.
to speak truth and allow God to glorify Himself even through that, because there's a lot of people who need to hear
There
that
is.
testimony. There's a time and place for everything,
There is.
you know. So let God do what He needs to do, you guys. Even with miscarriages, but we would discuss that more
Yes.
in another month that we're coming up with, you know. So the point of this is that God restores if
Mm.
you let Him, and if you're honest with Him,
Amen.
and He can use this to glorify Himself, because He wants to be part of it.
Mm.
So please let Him be part of it.
Amen. And
Anything else?
no, I think we have definitely probably talked more than we should have. I didn't realize that it was one.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
I don't even feel like we were like talking that long.
No, it definitely didn't feel like it. But it was beautiful. And I pray and hope that whoever's listening, that it touches you, touches your heart, whether you are grieving yourself or whether you know someone that is. And we're gonna end it with a
And do
prayer.
traditions like you just did. I love that.
Oh yeah.
That you went. I used to have a tradition too. I used to go to Applebee's and eat the cookie sundae.
Really?
Yeah, because I've always craved that when I was pregnant.
Oh.
But they discontinued
out.
that, so
Oh.
I couldn't do it no more. But
Oh.
it's good to have traditions to keep
Oh,
that
yeah.
memory alive.
Oh yeah. I like whatever's happening that day, I make it happen. I
Mhm.
go. Even if I go by myself, it doesn't matter. I go. Like today, I made it. Took my lunch hour. I was like, I'm rushing. But I bring her the flowers. I always her favorite color was green. Always make sure whether it's the green, the outside part that's green, or whether the flowers itself are green. Yep.
You're so good.
Yeah.
You're so good.
Yep.
Okay.
So, even that matters. All right. Well, whose turn is it?
Oh, it's my turn. Wait, it's gonna fall, no?
No.
Let's see what God has for you today. And it's green. Green is the color of hope. Yeah. Oh, wait, it's my favorite color for this year. Oh, last year and this year too. Joshua 1:9. Everyone should know this one. Right, Eunice? She's laughing. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go, whatever you feel, whatever you go through. He wrote every single chapter in your life. He knows what's best for all of us. So be strong, be courageous to face yourself. There's a lot of people who don't want to face themselves.
Face your emotions.
Face yourself.
Face your emotions. It's a heart condition.
Don't start, Melanie. Don't get me started with that, because I'm giving a class on that on Tuesdays.
Oh,
It's really good. When you discover.
Oh my God. I have to record so I can hear.
1 hour. I can't believe this.
I did it.
In 5 minutes. You gotta cut some stuff out. Vámonos. Vámonos. We out.